Whoa! Damn, man, look at that, look! What's the matter with you? You can't take an ass beating, bitch! Shut up! Do something! You're smart, right? Do that thing! You, come here! Breathe into his mouth!
Calling the Audible.
Booyah! Whoa! this kicks like a mule with his balls wrapped in duct tape.
With Peas Dillery.
Tight, yeah!
And George Michael Collector. Starts now.
Clean the manure out from between your ears. What did you do that for? Shut up!
Welcome everyone, you are listening to and perhaps watching Calling the Audible. Of course, if you're watching, you know quality because you know what's up.
Faster.
Joined in studio by GM Colechoas. You can follow him, of course, at GMCole44. I am Peas Del Reese. You can follow me at PeasFPF. And if you'd like to follow people home, you can follow our producer at EagleFPF. And if you want to follow him for a reason, you can tweet the show live by tweeting at EagleFPF. It's the 1 week you don't do it. You say it every week. Oh, but anyway, you can tweet us live at EagleFPF. And remember, we will read it, even if it's profane. But not if it's racist. You can follow, if you're watching live, of course, you know you're watching at www.theunclemikeshow.com. If you stick around till 9 o'clock, the Uncle Mike Show does have a guest in that they will have the undefeated professional boxer, Eric Bezinian. He's on the show tonight, so it's promised to be nothing but a knockout. Of course, you are watching in the Coast to Coast studios. This week, GM. Someone, I would say, if I were to find one person in the FPF media that I would consider a genius, it would be myself because I would.
Why am I not surprised by the self promotion?
I love me some me. Really, my whole FPF career is based on promoting myself.
Can you get that on the back of your next jersey? I love me some me.
Absolutely. I went 4-0 my picks, one of which was Labor Day beating BD Bandits. I thought it would be somewhat of a closer game. However, they took it to the BD Bandits 33-18. The game was a little bit closer than it played out, which we'll discuss. GM, what did you think about this outcome?
I think this was one of the ones where we were both very on point. We both agreed on it from the beginning. The one thing that surprised me was that this game... That was the mic. That this game was very, very close at the half. And then it seemed like throughout the rest of the game, Fred Dupuis really adapted. The buddies really took off from that point and never looked back.
Absolutely. And we saw some big plays toward the end of the game by JC Bennett and by Guillaume Paquette. Two of this absolutely stacked receiving core. It's a receiving core that doesn't get a lot of credit because we talk about how good Fred Dupuis is, but honestly, when you look,
they still have to make it happen.
They do, and honestly, top to bottom, offense and defense. I've been saying it since the beginning of the season. The buddies, regardless of their rank, maybe the best team in FPF, and the best thing that could have happened to them. I mean, not best team in Division 3, and the best thing that could have happened to them was losing those two games in the regular season because. You watching him like this, it looks like they're so ready for playoff football. That's what I see anyway.
Yeah, I mean, just not having to worry about either bye weeks or just keeping the momentum rolling and really being a strong team. They've had very favorable matchups up to this point, and it still looks like it's going to be a lot of greener pastures for them.
Which we'll look at as we move on into the next games, of course. But in this one here, Mark Belvedere... not making the big mistake, but just not making big plays. It was really the script in this one. And it seemed as though if this was a 33-minute game, if this was a 22-minute game, it could have gone one way. But given that Mark Belvedere and the BD Bandits had to play at such a high level for an entire
consistently,
game,
yes.
They didn't look like they could fill the role. Honestly, congratulations to BD Bandits. You made it further than a lot of people thought you could. I thought they were a good team.
You made it further than Salid.
Made it further than Salid, or Moose for that matter. But honestly, I did believe you're a good team coming into the season. And as the season went on, you look stronger and stronger. I think you're a couple of pieces away, and you'll be a serious contender in seasons to come. But for now, buddies do pull ahead with the win, and will, of course, break down their game as we go on to the show. Bearskins beat Past Our Prime 39-33 in this one. Neil Ettinson finally playing at a high enough level that we can say, look, maybe they are for real. He's 5 touchdowns to 1 interception. We saw the same kind of output from Craig O'Brien, but still, Bearskins just pull ahead of the Pastor Prime. What do you think about this game?
I'm really surprised because I thought that Craig O'Brien would have struggled more against the Bearskins defense, who are so aggressive and they read the ball so well. It's interesting to see as well, although at the same time, Pastor Prime are not shy of talent, but it's interesting to see Vinny Golano.
I don't believe you said it right because this is the Division 3 podcast and you're taking Brett Callender's place. So if you're going to say Vinny Golano's name,
Vinny Golano,
you need to sing it, absolutely. Vinny Golano with no TDs in this game.
However, the ball still spread effectively. Darren Bicknell, very underrated talent in Division 3. Knows football, Aggie Philodopoulos, Dale Williams, Kevin Wilson, the usual suspects in this game. But it just seemed like the Bearskins came to play. And we saw the game that we were really expecting from Neil Ettinson at the same time.
Yeah, and you know what? The thing is that the Bearskins got by kind of by the skin of their teeth in this one. But I think with just being able to apply the constant pressure, they heeded my warning and keeping away from Kevin Wilson, who is the most underrated and perhaps one of the top defenders in Division 3. So congrats to them for moving on. One team we will not congratulate, unfortunately, this week is Sea Assassins, as they lost to VPC, which stands for Very Popular Chicken. They lost 35-26 in a game that many thought would be a more higher scoring affair.
Not us.
Not us. Absolutely. Kudos to us. VPC takes it, and Sea Assassins. I've said it from the beginning. I don't think that you can win. I think defense is stupid, but I don't think you can win playing that bad a defense. It would just put too much pressure on your quarterback, and we see Dan Lazar throwing 2 interceptions in this game.
Really targeting. It seems like these two teams were almost mirror images of each other offensively, with Dan Lazara really feeding the ball to Zach Jonio, Rob Robinson on the other side of the ball, really feeding the ball to Jonathan Laristis. Both players had 3 touchdowns. I'm actually more surprised on how much more Robbie spread the ball around and the lack of Dick in this game.
Yeah, there just wasn't enough Dick.
Mm-hmm.
If I would
you see normally there's about 7, 8, 9 receptions to the center. Robbie really knew where the plays were going to be. He knew who came out to play and really surprised the Sea Assassins. A
side note to this game, Dan Lazara showed up a couple of minutes before the game, only threw maybe a handful of warm-up passes. They actually had to call a timeout to get him on the field to start the game. Do you think this was a part? Do you think that just Lazara came in cold?
I think, yes, it definitely has something to do with it. But not only is that not an excuse, it's inexcusable. If you're the flagship player of this team, you're in playoff football where every game is so close and every point counts. It's absolutely inexcusable.
You clearly don't play on a team where a quarterback showed up 3 minutes before the game, so I think it depends. Honestly, it's
I pace. I show up an hour early and pace if people aren't collectively ready 15 minutes before the game.
No, for sure. And the thing is, I
gotta read it.
I will read it in a second, but I just want to finish my thought. I think that it really depends on. It's an easy cop out to say, well, he came in cold, but I think that it depends on what your pregame rituals are. Some quarterbacks take a half hour to warm up. Like some quarterbacks, which is annoying to me, and I pace just as much as you do before games. Like some quarterbacks show up literally a couple months before, throw the ball around 4 times. Yep, ready to go. Let's do it.
And by the way, I have had that before. I played with Jordan Panetta, so you don't know what fear is until you're not sure.
Because you're never really sure if he's going to show up to the game. We have a couple of tweets from the guys who show up every week. One of which is Ryan Aridi. Ryan, thank you for tuning in. He tweeted at Eagle FPF, which is of course where you want to tweet if you want to tweet the show live. He tweeted, can VPC easily win the D3 championship knowing that they have the best 2 receivers in the division, Lyris and Dick? Go ahead, you answer first.
Okay. I don't think that at this stage of the game it's going to be enough. I think that VPC still have potential to win and still have the ability to, but they're going to need to do more than rely on 2 players all game.
I agree. I think in terms of top end talent, they're insane in terms of Larissus, Robinson, and Dick. But I'm going to go ahead and say that you need more than that in this stage. You look at teams that are just well constructed, like Meta Mayhem, top to bottom. You look at how well the buddies are built, top to bottom.
And at the same time, no disrespect, because they're my favorite. They're just about my favorite team in the league. I've watched this team almost throughout their inception, and ever since I played in FPF, they were a team that was very much my role models. Mm-hmm. But VPC, whenever they make it far in the playoffs, it's always the same thing. It's 3 players leading the team. It's either Robinson, Dick, and Laristus in this case, or Robinson, Louis Richard, Andrew Carruthers, Robinson, Louis Richard, Dan Dick, Jason Prince. They're all interchangeable. They always have 3 guys who are really stepping up, and they fall shy when it comes to either the
well-constructed
and
teams.
they've made the finals repeatedly.
Eagle points out that Laristus is Robinson and Dick sounds like a law/accounting firm. I believe so. However, if you focus on just one of those names, it sounds like an adult film company.
Laristus, right?
That's the one. We also got a tweet from John Laristus. He says, at Eagle FPF, see Assassin's defense, hashtag Swiss cheese.
It's trending.
Shots fired. It is trending. It's trending. Honestly, I think it's just... Sea Assassins are a team that moved up very quickly in FPF, and you get away with things in the lower division that you just don't get away with as you move up. John Laristus himself had 4 guys trying to cover him throughout the course of this game. None of them worked. So, he honestly, Sea Assassins will just get better and better and better, and their offense is good enough. They just need to They need to add one guy who can coach them up on defense. It's not even about having the athletes. They just need somebody
to call the defense.
They need like a Roshi or Vincent Ardone to join the team and be like, this is what we got to do. And it's done. It's literally going to be that easy. It reminds you of The Incredibles as they're moving up through divisions, adding a guy like Vincent Ardone.
There you go. Topical.
Meta Mayhem beating Mongoose in this one. I got a text from Alex Hollowak after the game. He said...
He doesn't text me anymore. I'm really sad about sad about... No, I don't think that's the case at all.
Or he lost your number.
Okay.
He texted me. He said... you are a savant, and I said I am in fact an idiot savant. However, I did predict this one. We got in. We saw them winning this game 33-20. Why do you hate Meta Mayhem?
I don't. I'm very happy to see
Not in
this
terms of the people. Why is it you keep selling them short? Shots fired, Jim.
Shots fired, and I lost to them. So it's not for not experiencing how well they are. I think it's just when you look at them, it's a certain je ne sais quoi where you think, oh, they're good, but the wheels are eventually going to fall off, or there's something that's holding them back. But we haven't found it yet.
I've been on the Alex Hollowak bandwagon since since about 4 seasons ago when he beat my team. And it actually started the hashtag no regard trend.
It's a commonality. Every time we lose to someone, we instantly respect them.
Well, you know what? Because the 2 times I've played against him, they've been remarkably difficult games, and what it's shown is that he not only has the physical ability, but the leadership characteristics that it takes to be a quarterback in this league, and we've seen him be effective in high divisions as well. Also, he's a guy who's won a championship before.
He's also not someone who's dislikable. He's a very likable person.
I know, and I hate when people are likable because then I can't yell I can't rag on them.
Reckless moment. Sir Reckless tweeted us again. We need to know who you are.
Who are you, Sir Reckless? He says Savant Peas. That doesn't help me.
Does that mean it's Alex?
That might be Alex Hollowak. Alex, if that is you, you have won, of course, an unlicensed and illegal Snoop Dogg t-shirt, which you will get this weekend at the FPF game.
For those of you who didn't watch the Div 6 podcast, he actually did.
Yeah, I actually got it. I actually, someone gave me today a Snoop Dogg unlicensed t-shirt. It was a demonstration from a vocational school that offers printing. So they made that t-shirt. It now belongs to Sir Reckless.
We need to continue because we keep digressing.
I know, but it's such an awesome trend. Jeremy Anderson is now had 5 touchdowns in the last 2 games. Is he a legitimate offensive threat? No, he's known more as a defensive player. Is he now more of an offensive threat?
I guess maybe in Division 3, but in Division 2, this season, last year as well, Jeremy Anderson is a stalwart 2-way player. So offensive comes into play when you're good at both sides of the ball.
That's true. That's true. What do you think happened to Mongoose in this game? I've had my struggles with Mongoose, which has been well publicized. I've always found to be a tough out in playoffs. That being said, they just did not seem to show up.
It is strange too, considering the chemistry of this team, the athletes, how long they've played together as well. It's just testament right now to Meta Mayhem.
Absolutely, and we will come back to testify as we talk about the games coming up in the final four coming up this weekend. When we come back from break, we will break that down, and then GM, we will talk about your beautiful haircut.
Thank you. It is from today.
Calling the Audible has been brought to you by the English Montreal School Board's DEAL program. Distance education for all learners will allow you to obtain your high school diploma or prerequisites for CEGEP or vocational studies from the comfort of your own home. It's never too late to go back to school. Learn anywhere at your own pace and get your diploma. Call 514-788-5937 for information or visit www.distanted.ca for more details.
That was the fastest countdown of all time, and you were listening to the greatest show of all time, Calling the Audible.
Oh, wait, the fastest countdown? Clearly, you've never had a game officiated by Jack Nudie, because that clock goes like
very
that.
quickly. I have no comment, but wink. Of course, if you're watching, you are watching on www.theunclemikeshow.com, where 2 minutes to 5 plays become 5 plays in no time at all. And of course, if you're watching, you can stay tuned until 9 o'clock, where you'll watch the Uncle Mike Show, and he'll have, of course, the undefeated professional boxer Eric Bazinian in studio. It's bound to be a knockout, because, in fact, Mama did tell me to knock you out. And by you, of course, I do mean GM, collect your ass. And if you're,
I have to collect my own ass?
You do have to collect your own ass. No one will do it for you. If you want to tweet him live, you can tweet him at GMCole44. If you'd like to tweet me, I'm a decent follow. You can tweet me, follow me at PeasFPF. You can follow Eagle to his car and sit in his back seat. He will drive you home because he's that nice a guy. He literally drove with me to Toronto and back on Monday for no apparent reason. And if you want to tweet the show live, you can tweet him at EagleFPF. Of course, this especially is helpful if you want to tweet the show live or if you're a blonde girl from Vienna.
And I was late to my mom's Easter dinner because of Toronto.
Absolutely, and you know when Eagle's late, it might be a pregnancy scare. So thank you everyone for keeping with us.
Oh, this is going off the rails fast.
As we went off the rails, it's the best part of Calling the Audible, of course. But let's get into a game. But before we talk about the Bearskins Buddies game, we do have a tweet from Ryan O'Reilly that relates. He says, Bearskins have a great rusher in Peterson.
He would know, too, considering Peterson replaced him on DK.
There we go. So we see it. Should Ettinson run the ball more considering Labor Days don't have a stable rusher? GM.
No.
Also, no. Because not having a stable rusher
doesn't mean that whoever's rushing can't rush.
Because they have like 6 guys on that team that can rush. It is terrifying.
Short answer, no. Long answer, No,
Yeah,
it's not.
It's just
something
knowing more-
It's not
more
something
O's.
I would advise it doing. I think that at this stage in the game, you really want to do what you're comfortable with. Put your best foot forward, and not really. This is not the time to start trying things unless you know you're going to do them well.
I was actually discussing Les Buddies off air with the Eternal Hunger at Master Control a couple nights ago, and I said having this many rushers who are this athletic and this comfortable is kind of like facing Greg Maddux, in that just the speeds vary, the way it comes in varies, and it's just so difficult to judge. I do not suggest Neil Edmondson running. The way you'll have to beat the Buddies is just by execution and by running the right plays against their defense. There's no
And
trick
hope you
to
have
it.
the ball last.
Exactly. Hope you have the ball last. Hope you're close, because there's no easy way to beat them. They're an absolutely fantastic team.
With that in mind, the Bearskins beat Les Buddies
It
the
was
last time they
18-12
played.
last time around, and we saw Frederick Dupuis struggle. He threw 3 interceptions this game. Do you think that it's the same kind of game that we'll see, or do you think that we'll see a script flip a little?
Short answer, no.
Long answer.
no. No, but in all seriousness, I think that both teams have really learned a lot from their previous matchup. Fridge P especially, having had that practice both in Division 2 and in Division 3. I think we're in for a very different game. Eagle is giving us a little bit of input that all INTs went to different people.
We saw Bertoldi, Peterson, and Jean-Michel Laplante all picking off Fred Dupuis.
So players you wouldn't be surprised
by
by.
at the least. Yeah, one thing I will say is it's difficult to beat a team like Les Buddies twice. And
So yes, we do think that Les Buddies can redeem their loss against Bearskins.
thank you, Ryan Aridi, for that tweet. GM responded directly without reading the tweet. Obviously, you're not a radio professional like one person in this room, Terry Tam. So I will say that it is tough to do that, and I don't think that people have noticed how good this receiving squad is. And one key player that was missing the last game was Guillaume Paquette.
Yes.
Who was not there. So having Jason Charbonneau, Guillaume Paquette, and JC Bennett is going to be a headache. Sorry?
Charbonneau's hurt.
Charbonneau is hurt? Mm-hmm. That's official? I did not know that. So he's hurt. So if he doesn't play, either way, it's still an excellent team. I think it'll be a different kind of game entirely. I see more of a 34-30 kind of game than an 18-12 game that we had last time. Do you agree?
I do. But I think, like I said, both teams have really learned a lot from this. So I also don't see the Bearskins only scoring 18 points.
Absolutely. In the other game, we have Meta Mayhem taking on VPC. Last time they played, Meta Mayhem won 34-24. Alex Holloway had his way with Robbie Robinson and the VPC defense. Robbie Robinson didn't make a mistake in that game, but just wasn't able to keep pace. Do you think it'll be the same kind of game, or do you think it'll be different?
I don't know, because I so badly want to pick Meta Mayhem right now, but I'm honestly not sure what to make of this
You're
game.
just trying to prove that you don't hate them, but we all know you hate them, so just stop hating them. It's easy. Just stop.
Stop the hate.
Stop the hate. That's all I'm saying.
Hashtag
stop the hate.
With that in mind, these are two teams who have overcome, both had surprise wins in the, well, not to us obviously, but surprise wins in the last series, and now they're coming up against each other. It's going to be very interesting to see the matchup of Terrence Adams against Robbie Robinson, if Robbie has a few more tricks in his book, or if he's going to be slowed down by Terrence Adams with a relentless rush.
I will say, and we do have a tweet in from John Laristis who said conference finals in Div 3 are also divisional rematches. Hashtag VPC, hashtag Revenge Tour. And he says DLR, aka the law firm, which we'll just start calling VPC the law firm, of course.
Does that mean they're getting Ben Jarvis Green Ellis?
They should. He'd be a great addition. However, I think Alex Holloway is the smartest quarterback when it comes to planning for a rematch. I think the last guy you want to see in a rematch in Division 3 is Alex Holloway. He just understands the game so well, and he knows how to use whoever's on his roster, whether it's when he's played with No Regard, whether it's been now with this Meta Mayhem team. we saw James Omoskowski scoring 3 touchdowns. We see Danny Demore who can do the same. Jeremy Anderson's playoffs have been ridiculous. Jeff Moscato's a guy who hasn't even had a huge role in the offense, who can explode at any moment. Like, what do you do? Who do you take away on the Men of Mayhem defense? I like how when I ask a question, I pretend like Eagle didn't put it up on the screen, and you always give him credit.
Well, considering Eagle said receiver core and not defense, of the Men of
I said receiving core though. I was
No,
talking
you
receiving-
didn't.
I was talking about the receiving core.
I know, but that's not what you said.
Awesome.
With that
receiving
in mind,
core.
I think if you need to really take someone away, it's got to be James Nowakowski. He's got such breakneck speed. He can get open at a moment's notice that you have to put Robbie on him. You have to have your best defender playing neck and neck, and it's a battle for who has the least amount of hair, I think. But lots of respect to both of those guys. I make that joke because I know that they're both great guys. But just two phenomenal athletes. They're both leaders of their respective teams, and it's going to be a really, really interesting matchup to see.
When I spoke to John Lyricis about this game, he mentioned to me, he said the toughest time he's had getting open was against Men of Mayhem, despite the fact that he had a lot of catches. Didn't get a ton of yards last time around. 9 catches, 50 yards. The 9 catches I can see John Lewis is getting. 50 yards just seems low for his production.
It's just a shorter comeback.
Absolutely. But do you what can you see VPC doing, given that we know Men of Mayhem won't give them what they want to do on offense?
It's going to be a lot of dinking and dunking. I think Robbie's going to bring out, which we haven't seen a lot this season, but I'm really excited to see, his trademark no-look passes where he has his eye out.
Yes, he did that to Moose. It was very unfortunate.
It's not so, and hopefully Meta Mayhem takes something from this, because if you don't expect it coming, you get destroyed by it, because all Robbie has to do, and it's even worse outdoors because he wears these fucking sunglasses and he looks like this and throws here, and it's a completion for 30 yards.
That is some great radio. GM, of course, turned his head one way to wave his arm the other way for those listening to Calling the Audible on the podcast, of course.
With that, we need predictions.
Predictions, GM. I will say Bearskins and Les Bodets. I'm going to give the edge to Bearskins just because they're the higher seed, but we're going to give it a 2-point favorite to Bearskins. What do you say?
I say nay. I think that...
Will you do the nay dance? There we go.
I don't even know if that's the nay dance.
One way to find out. Internet.
I really think that experience is going to play a big part in this game, and with that in mind, as much as I love the Bearskins, it's going to be the Buddies who move on.
My pick will be in my article coming out later this week.
Did you already make your pick?
Probably. I don't even remember anymore. Terry Tam tweets in Meta Mayhem by 3, and with that, we will make our picks for Meta Mayhem VPC. We have Meta Mayhem as the higher seed, so I'll give them... Let's use that as the line, just because I didn't put much forethought into this game. So, Terry Tam says Meta Mayhem by 3. That is the official line. Terry Tam is now Las Vegas. What's your pick?
My pick, there's something nagging at me right now about VPC. I have a lot of respect for those guys. They're one of my favorite teams. But I think this is a bad matchup. I think that they're not deep enough against Meta Mayhem. Mm-hmm. And that's
so you're saying even though they got Dick, it's not deep enough?
Dick is not going to be deep enough in this game.
Fair enough.
And with that in mind, I'm going to have to side with Meta Mayhem on this one.
Final thoughts, GM.
I learned, my final thoughts is that it's not only you'll never walk alone, but you'll never sit on a couch alone, judging by what we have in the background here.
And I believe it's also you'll never shower alone, as you'll never walk alone, of course, is following us later on in the FPF programming. If you're watching, of course, you're watching at www.theunclemikeshow.com. And at The Uncle Mike Show tonight will feature undefeated professional boxer Eric Bazinian, so stay tuned for that. It's guaranteed to be... punch. GM Calethris, thank you for joining us. You, of course, can follow GM at GMCole44. Eagle, thank you for all the marvelous knob twisting that you do. What?
Press conference.
We don't know what we're doing about them yet.
Yes, we do.
Next week.
Next week.
So, am I going for 1, going for 2? I'm going to go for 1. As I want to just take a moment to talk about the press conferences. It's our chance to go head-to-head with our opponents. It's got a very WWE feel. If you've seen any of the previous ones, it's been nothing but fun. We'll get a representative from each team showing up to talk about the game, the upcoming final game. So
Okay,
stick
so
around.
Reckless has got to be
Let me
someone.
just
Sorry.
finish up. So we'll look at it. We'll have one player from each team who will be showing up to the podcast, and we'll interview them about the final game. Speaking of finals, we have a live tweet at GM. Thank you for your patience.
Sir Reckless, who predicts a Bearskins Mayhem final, and with that, we're narrowing it down slowly. It's got to be someone who plays on both wax on, wax off. Well, someone somewhere in Div 6 and in Div 3 as well, because they watch both. It's got to be either Justin Ocanero or Danny Demore.
So, and for Sir Reckless, guys, whoever it was that tweeted in, ask Sir Reckless. Please keep in mind that you, of course, won an unlicensed. You've won an unlicensed and illegal Snoop Dogg t-shirt that will be delivered to you at the final game. So please come collect your t-shirt. I will be there in attendance. GM, thank you for tuning in. Mo Khan, thank you for ruining my show. Terry Tan, thank you for being prettier than Mo. Eagle, thank you for doing everything that you do. And thank you all for letting me be myself.